Have and have not fans, this is it. We have been waiting in anticipation for a new have and have not trailer to drop. Actually, last week I made a video kind of like going over the fact that I've been on hiatus for a while. Luckily enough, I have a new laptop, I have a new microphone filter, so I was getting used to, I guess you could say, readjusting myself to new technology in order to bring you new videos before the season premieres on June 20th. So we are less than a month away. So with that being said, I was going to do this video a little bit earlier, but a couple things. Number one, I'm a comic book CW fan. Well, I love comics as well as superheroes, so I've been really giving most of my time and attention to like Flash, Supergirl, Arrow, and what have you. But the finales are over and done with, so we won't have those shows back on until the fall. So I guess you could say that since I'm done with school, I've already determined where I'm living next year. I guess you could say aside from work, that's the only thing that's going to keep my attention away from the have and the have not. So that's perfect, meaning I can hopefully drop out videos a lot quicker than I used to. So with that being said, I guess you could say that this video is simply going to be my own thoughts on the, I guess you could say, about 60-second teaser trailer we got for the have and have nots episodes coming next month. Just know that this video might not be as in-depth as I usually do it because I sat down and looked at the trailer about 8 times. I've already kind of like took snapshots of the different scenes so I can compile them together into videos. I already have, aside from this one video, I have 5 other videos I need to do because, again, this trailer does show a lot of different scenes, but I like to take those scenes apart and kind of go into more in-depth detail, looking back at old theories that I've had, old scenes from previous episodes, and compiling it together to kind of see where the story is going. So just be on the lookout for the following videos in no particular order. So of course we have this number 1 video. I'm just going to be going into detail about the trailer. Another video I'm doing, number 2, Candace has no right to be mad. That's going to be going into detail about Quincy Jr. being dead because, again, this trailer does confirm there is a funeral. There is a scene where we see Candace, Benny, and Hannah. Candace is kind of going off the rails, and somebody pointed out to me that there is unfortunately a coffin in the background, so that does highly imply that Quincy Jr. did die and they did have a funeral. So again, it looks like Candace is going off on Hannah in this scene, and I just have a lot to say about how she has no right to even open her mouth about this situation. The next video is a war is on the horizon. I predicted this way back when, that Mama Rose and Warlock would lock horns and there will be some kind of gang war going down in Savannah, Georgia, eventually. And the icing was put on the cake when Mitch was in the middle of the shootout between Warlock and his crew when they were trying to get rid of Candace and shot up the motel room where Benny and his family were staying. So Mama Rose didn't take too kindly to that, and it looks like something's about to go down. Next video, this creeper version of Justin who doesn't seem to want to take no for an answer. Going into detail again about something we saw in the trailer about, you know, Jeffrey saying they're not together. Justin's really not taking that as an answer. We even see a mini fight between him and Landon, and an encounter between Veronica and Justin. So again, that video is going to go in depth about that. Another video is this is an interesting one. Wyatt and Candace, in regards to how similar they are, being children of parents they really can't stand, but they both have their inner demons to conquer. Wyatt, of course, being his addictions, and Candace having her own addictions as well, but not just to substances, more like her reckless lifestyle. So I feel that those two are more similar than we kind of realize. So that video is kind of be like a character analysis. And then finally, a video I'm going to be working on is the question that Jim brought up to Candace at the end of this trailer. I know you have nothing left, but just tell me, was it worth it? So again, that's kind of a lineup of the videos you need to be on the lookout for after I post this one. So I know we're almost 5 minutes into this particular trailer breakdown, but again, I just wanted to tell you that I'm going to go into detail, more detail in these other videos. So this video is pretty much just me breaking down the trailer. So getting started, just looking at the trailer, we have the aftermath of the shootout where Hannah comes out with Quincy Jr.'s body, and she is just breaking down. And something to point out here is the scene where she's at the bathroom sink And if you hear a clicking sound, that's me just on my laptop, just kind of watching the trailer scene by scene as I make the video. So again, if you hear a clicking sound, that's me pretty much, hitting pause on my laptop. If you look closely at the scene where she's looking at the sink with her hands full of blood, that reminded me of, again, it just shows how much Hannah goes through. The scene in early season 3, I believe, when Catherine and her family are getting ready for the press conference where Jim is announcing his run for governor. She goes up to Amanda's room to wake her up, then discovers, that there is blood everywhere, and then Amanda's been shot, and she had blood all over her hands, and she tried to wipe it on her apron. She goes down the stairs to use the phone. Celine is just like, what happened to you? This woman has seen so much, and the fact that she had to carry her grandchild's own dead body out of the bathroom and to wash her own hands before, when she called 911, that was just what she's just been going through a lot. So we move on in the trailer, and we get, stills of the different characters, like you see like Candace in a black background behind her. And I believe the next scene we go into is Oscar talking to Candace, obviously talking about Charles in terms of her interactions with him. And the fact that she has a purse full of money, man, I can't even, it's just frustrating because it's an endless loop with Candace. I will say this, she is true to who she is, but at the same time, she gets out of one loop of pain and suffering, and then she does it all over again. It's almost like she ups the stakes with every, I guess you could say, job she gets into. She goes from from a Jim to Oscar that bit her in the butt, escaping war's wrath for now, to messing with a potential presidential candidate. And I believe Oscar even goes into details. This is billions of dollars we're talking about. This isn't like the chump change that you're used to doing, messing around with these low-grade politicians and gang members. So Oscar is still in the game. And we do see Charles, taking off his shirt and whatnot. So he seems like he's more content now with Candace, because remember, she was going to blackmail him in terms of, hey, if you don't do what I say, then I'm going to reveal the sex tape. So, the fact that it looks like he's voluntarily taking off his shirt, stripping for Candace, well, we all know how that's going to turn out. And keep going into the trailer. We have more stills of a Candace, and of course we see an encounter between Justin and Veronica. Justin, okay, the fact that he's married to the judge who's going to be ruling the case, if I'm not mistaken, against Veronica in court, that's going to be pretty interesting dynamics there. But Justin does not have any idea what he's getting himself into. So, I mean, Veronica, she's almost like an octopus because she has a hand in everything. She can be battling against everyone but still come out on top to a certain extent. Right now she's fighting with Melissa in terms of, giving her a grandchild, keeping Jeffrey in line, Catherine, oh my God, Catherine. And then making sure Quita does what she's told. Keeping an eye on David to make sure no woman he's going with no other woman. And now he has to deal with, now she has to deal with her son messing around with a closeted cop, if you want to call him that. Then we move on to the next scene where, of course, we have the new Mama Rose. And again, it's pretty obvious it's not the same one we saw back in season 2. I know she wasn't a main character, but I'm one of those people where if you have a character in like a movie, series, or a TV show, I hate seeing them getting replaced. I mean, again, I don't know what's happening behind the scenes where, maybe the actress that played Mama Rose before wasn't available, so they have a new person. I mean, I'm just one of those kind of people. So she does look intimidating. I give her that much. I'm not really sure what kind of crew she's rolling with, because the guy on her, I believe the right side, really doesn't look like one of her crew members because of what he's wearing. But again, this could be one of those, jobs they're running, and Mama Rose shows up. She's on the phone. She does not seem happy because it looks like she got a phone call from her grandson, Mitch, who pretty much outed War for what he did. Because again, her grandson almost got killed in a shootout, and she does not seem too happy about this. And I believe she even says to Jim, if it's a war he wants, he's going to get it. And Jim is like, whoa, wait, if you go down this road, this is going to, destroy me. So there's no telling what's going to happen with that, because again, you have to think about it this way. Jim was the one to get Warlock out of jail. So Mama Rose might have some, guns aimed at Jim, because I guess you put it this way. I even mentioned this in another video. when you think about it, if Jim allowed Mama Rose to kill Candace when she wanted to, instead of letting her go by thinking that, you know, they shot her in the head, a lot of things wouldn't have happened the way they did. But you think about it, Jim let Warlock out of jail to get the videos and photos from Candace, but since he got screwed up, and not to mention Jim told Warlock how much money she really extorted from him, being $7.4 million, that just led down an entire rabbit hole of revenge and plots and people getting shot up. Because again, if she finds out that the reason War was shooting at her grandson was because Benny's sister Candace was the reason for Warlock going after them, not to mention Mitch's lifestyle of, you know, going down the path of the straight and narrow instead of being a Malone gangster by working at the tow company with Benny, was ruined by Candace foreclosing everything to the bank. Well, you know, getting the $2 million loan, which led to the foreclosure to pay back Warlock. I know that's a mouthful, and again, that's how my mind works when I think about the show. I'm always just thinking about every single little trait and little detail. It all leads back to Jim and Candace's own battle from the beginning of episode 1. So if Mama Rose goes down this road, I mean, Jim is going to talk about how, hey, this might destroy me. I don't think Mama Rose cares, because at the end of the day, it's all about family. And yeah, she did owe Jim for helping her out in the past, but this involves her grandson, and things are going to be taken to a new level of crazy. Wow, that was a mouthful. Next, we get a scene where Benny's in an interrogation room about what do you know about the death of Quincy Maxwell. And I believe the next scene a later scene, we have Justin bringing in Benny, and we see Mitch in the background. Then we have another scene where we have Oscar and David sitting at the bar at the hotel, or at the hotel. I forgot the name of this. It's not the Sarandon. It was kind of like the new setting for this season. And it really goes back to Oscar telling David to stay on his guard, you know, make sure you're not being played by this chick Erica, because again, if he let Oscar do investigative work, pretty much his own job, he would have dug up the dirt on Erica, because again, so many connections, like her being, you know, with Warlock and being friends with just so many different factors that come into play. And then we get the next scene after that where we have Catherine just excited to see Wyatt. You know, he's in the hospital. He's going through the treatment plan that Jeffrey finally got him to, you know, enlist with to help him kick his addiction. So it's going to be interesting to see those two together, because if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time Catherine has seen Wyatt, I guess you could say, conscious and living, because the only other time I remember her seeing him was when he was in the coma. She walked in on Jeffrey talking to Wyatt, and that's when he found out that, that's when she found out that Veronica was the one to have the rape incident happen with Toxic, which led to his overdose. Then the next scene after that is Veronica and Catherine standing off in the hospital, because again, Catherine's talking about how she would go into mama bear mode over her child, and I think we've seen enough knives being sticked into people's back, so you never know. Veronica better watch out. And I do love the other scene. Again, it goes back to Jeffrey telling Justin, hey, we're not a couple, we're not a thing, and he isn't having it. So there is one scene I want to talk about where we have Landon being choked by Justin. And if I'm not mistaken, after he got strong-armed by Candace about information about Oscar, he said he was going back to Atlanta, and that was it. You know, he was going back to Atlanta because Maggie Day died or got killed. But, you know, he said he was going back, so I wonder why he's still in town. So, again, it's just one of those things. We're going to have to wait and find out. Then the next scene, Wyatt's kind of suffering in the bed at the hospital with Jeffrey there. And, again, I just like the fact that he's finally trying to better himself. He's not being an asshole in the preview anyway. So, I just hope he gets better soon, kicks that addiction. And then the next scene, we have Jim walking in, and kind of like Hannah with the blood on her hands. Just seeing Jim kind of like kneel over to his son in the hospital bed is a throwback to season 1, after Amanda attempted to take her own life after being raped by Professor Cannon, and we have Jim by her bedside in the hospital. So, you know, these families have gone through so much. It is crazy to think how far they've come. Then we get to the this scene is the scene I'm just really excited to do a video about, and it's the scene about the funeral with Quincy Jr. And just by the look on her face, you know Hannah is about to start some shit. I'm sorry for going that far, but some shit's about to go down because it looks like Candace is kind of crying there. And I'm pretty sure she's going to say something that's going to trigger Hannah. She'll probably say something like, you know, I'm going to get them back for doing this, or, you know, I don't know why this happened, or I should have been there. Hannah's side eye right there. Hannah's side eye right there is the trigger. She's going to say something, and I feel like that's going to get the reaction out of Candace, where she's going to jump in her face, and then it's going to be a fight. We have Hannah saying, I'm so angry again, that because Hannah's going to have that moment where she's going to go off, then she's going to calm down for the funeral. She's just going to get triggered by Candace, and then it's going to go all out. And we see a little scuffle between Jim and Catherine there. I'm guessing it has to do with Wyatt. You know, I'm just assuming because those two kind of had their own falling out at the end of the last episode, where she walked out of the house, said they're getting a divorce. But the only reason I can see them coming together, so to speak, now is just for the sake of Wyatt. And we're coming to the end of this trailer, but there are a ton of scenes. One particular scene, oh my God, I even did a video, is Melissa damaged goods? And because at the end of the last episode, it turns out her stress and reaction to her dad's death, pool of blood in the bed, and it looks like what Veronica is shaking her. I probably like to get her to snap out of it, so there's no telling how that's going to go. Then, of course, we have just the scene of Benny being brought in by Justin, Candace going off. It looks like David's trying to break up a fight between Erica and Veronica, so that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And let's see, we had the scene where, again, Justin is choking out Landon. Jeffrey's in the background kind of clapping like, hey, stop what you're doing, stop it. And there's this one particular scene, again, it goes back to the whole characters kind of, you know, standing still. And we see kind of the black background where Tyler Perry's just using different lighting to show the intensity. I believe we see a scene where Veronica and Catherine are standing there. It looks like Catherine is lighting a match and throwing it down. So don't tell me she's going to burn her house just like Veronica did to hers. And one of my favorite scenes, we just see David pointed over, and then we have Jim and Oscar turning around to look at Candace at the bar. I just love this reaction because it reminds me of this picture where it was towards the beginning of season 1, where Candace talks to that news reporter, and David and Jim turn around because they think that Candace is talking about prostitutes and whatnot, because Jim, you know, they were messing around and she was bluffing. So just that look where they all turn around, it just goes to show that Candace can just walk in the room and get everybody's attention. And that leads to the question that's going to be the topic of one of my videos, when Jim asked, was it worth it? Because again, they've gone so far in this series since episode 1. So ladies and gentlemen, that is I guess you could say, my breakdown of the new Haves and Have Not trailer. Be on the look. Please hit subscribe. I urge you, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification to make sure you get my videos once they're uploaded, because I will be going into even more detail into separate videos covering Candace and Hannah's falling out at the funeral, Jim asking Candace, was it worth it, the eventual gang war that's going on, and just so many other videos. Because again, June 20th is going to be here before you know it, and this trailer is just giving me what I wanted, which is kind of an insight of what's to come. I'm going to kind of go back through my old theories, kind of pull some that might have been, you know, true based off what we saw today. So please just let me know in the comment section below, what was your favorite part about this trailer? Like literally, what scene or scenes did you look at while watching the video and just go, oh my God, I'm so hyped. June 20th needs to get here right now. Was it the new Mama Rose? Was it the fact that Quincy Jr. is dead? Was it Wyatt being, you know, taken care of? And there was one particular scene where Jim said that, you know, hey, Wyatt's doing everything he can to get better, but it's not going to be enough. I'm guessing that's a reference to the fact that Wyatt has tried to kick this addiction before, but it didn't work, or the fact that he just knows his son better than we thought he did. So again, it's almost 20 minutes. I want to end this video now. So again, subscribe, comment below, and be on the lookout because more videos are on the way. And thank you again, Tyler Perry, for dropping this trailer a little bit earlier than I expected.